Hi, I'm Rich Spicer. This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. Coming up, we will be joined by Katy Huckle for the second segment of our show with Pat and Sally Goggin. But first, we have with us a couple of guests from the Cadillac Readers Theater. This is Northern Lights Readers Theater? Is that the name, Pat? Pat Paveglio and our very own Jay Simon are here today because there's a big thing coming up this weekend that we want to talk about and we want to promote. And first of all, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rich.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening this weekend.
Well, first of all, Rich, do you know why Christmas is being canceled this year?
I wasn't aware that Christmas was being canceled this year. This is new to me.
Apparently, you told Santa you've been good, and he died laughing.
Oh, dear Santa.
I think I see where this is going.
The name of the first part of our Christmas show is called Christmas Grins, and that's just a wee sample.
Okay.
It's a show of jokes, quotes, and anecdotes.
So when and where? Let's start with the important stuff and build from there.
Up North Arts Building, the Quonset hut's across from the football field, and we're on what they call the drill deck.
Okay.
And Saturday is at 7 o'clock, and Sunday is at 2 o'clock. And the very important part is that they're free.
I didn't know that there were two syllables in free.
Oh, there is when it's free.
Okay. Which means it doesn't cost you anything.
Correct.
However, donations would be more than welcome, right?
Well, as a matter of fact, we will have a little jar out. And seating will be limited. You certainly should be vaccinated, and you have to wear a mask, and we'll try to socially distance the chairs, although if you're in a group, you may group together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Jay.
Yes, sir.
You are a veteran of the stage in Cadillac. How is this different?
You use the term veteran awfully loosely there, but yes, to a certain extent. So this is different in the sense that it is readers' theater. We have scripts. We are reading these jokes and anecdotes for the first half hour. And then what Pat hasn't mentioned is the second half an hour is an over-the-top melodrama called Keep the Home Fires Burning.
Ooh.
Picture, what time frame would this be? Is this the
Picture it.
20s
Sicily,
and
1929.
20s and 30s.
Sorry, that's Golden Girls. I apologize.
There you go.
Yep.
20s and 30s.
Before
30s.
television, definitely.
Yeah. You had these melodramatic stories that were told where you had a heroine and she was, rescued by a hero and there was an evil villain and all this sort of classic kind of storyline, right?
Who do you think plays the evil villain? Just take a wild guess.
The guy with the shaved head who is supposed to look like a villain right now?
Wait till you see him caped and mustached.
Yes. So unlike traditional readers' theater where they dress in black and sit on stools and use their voices alone to portray what they're trying to portray, which I love and Northern Lights has done in the past and will continue to do in the future. Pat's vision for this was to put a little bit of movement and acting into it to kind of give it a little more flavor. And so there will be something to see as well as hear with regard to this. So yes, there may be a fake mustache involved. There may be a hero with a white cowboy hat. So when I say over the top, it is over the top. There's goodly mother, kind lady, and her lovely daughter Mary, and the mortgage is coming due on their home, and the evil villain holds the mortgage to their house, and what are they going to do? And this hero shows up to save them, and all kinds of shenanigans occur, and a very, very unlikely solution presents itself at the end of the show that I don't want to spoil. That I think people are going to really enjoy. Yeah.
So, Pat, if there's scenery to be chewed, it will be chewed up and spit out.
Oh, it will go. Well, you'd need a spittoon for this one.
They say in theater, you go as hard and as high as you can, you go over the top as much as you can until your director pulls you back. And I can tell you right now, Pat has not once tried to pull us back. So
you're encouraging them to just...
Oh, yeah.
Be their true selves.
Okay. Really?
Wait a minute. Are you suggesting that I'm an evil villain in my true self?
I'm sure you're not.
So, Pat, you are the director of this...
Yes. Evening of...
venture.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your background in theater, Pat.
Well, I started probably 40 years ago in where we used to live in Lapeer with a regular theater company, and got involved in the state association. And at some point we moved to Cadillac and got involved with Footlighters and retired from that. And I don't know if you know Molly Fryer, but Molly Fryer is an idea person who grabs hold of you and says, wouldn't this be a great idea for you to do?
Readers Theater?
Yes.
Okay.
Up North Arts was looking for more arts. And so I had dabbled in Readers Theater, both in Traverse and Glen Arbor, and always wanted to do it, but I would not have made the final step if Molly hadn't been pushing. So we started it, and I thought, well, if 5 people come and show an interest, we'll do something. Our first meeting, 19 people showed up.
Wow.
And most of them were men, which is unheard of in the theater.
Okay.
So we've been going ever since.
What do you attribute that to?
Still
don't know, huh?
My charm,
Okay.
my allure. I think for a lot of people, they're either at a stage in life where they don't want to or can't memorize the script anymore. If you're in a full production play, you're talking about 8 weeks of rehearsal, 2 or 3 nights a week, a part to memorize, plus costumes and scenery and set. And
Tech Week.
yes, it is. It's wonderful when it all comes together, but it's a lot of work. And this is, people can just come. Our people range from absolutely no experience to, I was in a high school play, to I dabbled in college, to people from Footlighters who have just don't either have full-time jobs and can't take the time or energy to be in a regular play.
You don't want to call it theater light because that's a different connotation.
Right.
That this is it's different.
Well, and in some ways, it's harder. If you're doing a stage play, you have a costume and scenery and props to help you tell the story. When you're in Readers Theater, you have your voice and your facial expressions, and you've got to get that story across.
Do you, when you were presenting these, Pat, do you think of old-time radio as a base?
Yes, and
Okay.
Glen Arbor in particularly does old radio scripts, and Sherlock Holmes, for example, is free game now if you get scripts that are in the public domain. So yes.
And I will tell you, in our digital media production class, once a year we will do an old-time radio show.
Oh.
We will survey the kids. We'll have them read over some scripts and say, hey, pick the one that tickles your fancy and let's practice it and let's do it.
Now, do you have a Foley sync to do all those wonderful sound effects?
We do not. We cheat and we find those sound effects on YouTube. Now, to have a Foley artist or to assign someone to do that would be our next step.
The first play I saw in Glen Arbor, they had, a creaking door and some shoes that went across the floor. And when we auditioned for the next play, they asked me if I wanted to take this part or do the sound. And I said, I want to do the sound. When I got there, the first read through, here's the computer. Push this key to get this sound, this key to get the... They were doing it all on the computer.
And where's the magic in that, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we can tell you we are creating our own sounds.
Are
for
they
this
ever?
One. So yeah, it's.
Are you at liberty to say how the sounds are being created or no?
Oh, sure, I can tell you.
Okay.
It's magic.
Oh, gotcha.
It is not computerized. I can
Yeah.
tell you that. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is, computers have made it so easy that you could just press a number and, a sound effect magically appears. But to be able to do that with a microphone right there and doing it organically in a real way.
And
is,
for
is
small
pretty cool.
budget theaters, if you want to use music that's copyrighted and you don't have an ASCAP license, you can't use music.
Right, exactly. So tell us more about this particular presentation. How many productions have we done so far, Pat? Are you at about 6, 7, 8, maybe?
I think
something
so.
along
I
those
think
lines?
so. We were going great guns until
That which shall not be named.
There you go.
and when we decided to open this fall, we said we have to laugh. We just
Agreed.
have to get through this year
Agreed.
laughing. So our first show was a joke show, and all jokes, anecdotes, and
We still have more. We
have
didn't
more.
use them all, so that's why the first half of this is more
which
jokes.
reminds me, Rich, do you know how many presents Santa can fit into an empty sack?
How many presents can Santa fill into an empty sack?
Only one. After that, it's not empty.
That's deep.
Sometimes we groan instead of laugh.
Let me press the button, the groan button right now. Oh. So that's another one of the. This is going to happen this weekend.
Yep.
And what are you searching for? What are you hoping to make the audience laugh? To make them what are you looking for? Is that what we're looking for laughter? Is that what we're aiming for this time?
Yes.
Okay.
We're having a lot of fun. I think Jay would agree.
Absolutely.
And it's just nice to share. It's nice to be involved in an art form. It's a feel good.
Tell me about your cast. And I want to talk to you, Pat, about the casts, not only for this show, but the shows you've had in the past. Has anyone emerged from the community that has surprised you, either with their talent level or somebody who was, did people come forward that were maybe younger than you thought they would be? I'm throwing out a whole bunch of stuff here. And
I'll let Pat answer, but I do want to point out that there's a conception, I think, of Reader's Theater that it does skew older. As
that's
Pat,
what I'm
as
aiming
Pat
at.
mentioned before, because you don't have to memorize, and it does get more difficult to memorize the older we get. It lends itself to people who have a theatrical bent and have the ability to use their voice to, convey different things, but they don't have the ability to remember this stuff anymore, and it's a lot easier if it's in front of them. But saying that, this cast in particular and casts in the past are ranging in a wide range of ages. We've got younger folks doing this.
We have a 10-year-old in this
We
one.
have you really?
Really? Our
Nice.
oldest member, who is taking this one off because she's too busy baking for Christmas, is 86.
Uh-huh.
So what's really very, very satisfying is the people that start and I just want to watch. I'll just sit here and read, or I could help you direct or something. And then gradually you draw them in. Can you just read this line this one time? And the growth that you see in some people,
when you give them license, especially like with this particular one,
Yeah.
the jokes, obviously, I mean, you want to sell those as hard as you can. That's just the fun part of it. But this melodrama, the second half of this particular show, as I mentioned, when you tell somebody, look, you're doing a great job, but you can go so much further with this. You just go way over the top with how you're selling these lines, and then you watch them do it. and it's hilarious. And then they look at you kind of fearfully like, oh, did I go too? And you're like, no, that was fantastic. Keep it up.
See that wall? Just knock
yes,
it over.
Exactly.
And Jay is a very, very good coach. He inspires them.
Because I don't know where to stop. That's the problem.
I'll have to play you at some point, Pat, a spec commercial that that Jay did for for our axe throwing place here in town that I wrote that he made 10 times better than I heard it in my head, and my hope is that sees the light of day at some point because it was good. It was really good. So what's the name of this show?
We're calling it Christmas Grins and Keeping the Home Fires Burning.
So that
we like short titles.
The Christmas Grins is the jokes, and then Keeping the Home Fires Burning is the second half over the top melodrama.
Yep.
About an hour long in total.
Okay.
About a half an hour for the first part and a half an hour for the melodrama. Yep.
2 shows.
2 shows.
When and where?
Saturday night, 7:00. Sunday afternoon at 2.
At
Up
the
North Arts.
Up North Arts. The Quonset hut that's just across from Cadillac High School.
Yes, the KISS Memorial.
The KISS
Yes.
Memorial.
106 Chestnut Street, to be formal.
Perfect. What's next for the group, Pat?
Next, we're going to have a dinner theater.
Ooh.
Valentine's weekend.
Oh, really?
With the classic Love Letters by A.R. Gurney. And it is one of my all-time favorite plays.
I'll look forward to having you back sometime around that first week of February to talk about it.
That would be wonderful.
All right. Jay Simon and Pat Paveglio from Northern Lights Readers Theater. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cadillac Unscripted continues in just a few moments. Katy Huckle joins me as we chat holiday traditions with one of our favorite Cadillac couples, Pat and Sally Goggin. Stay with us. This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. Glad you stayed with us. We just heard from Jay Simon and Pat Paveglio from the Northern Lights Readers Theater. And we've got a 2-parter today. We've got the Goggins today.
Oh my gosh, the studio is full of talent. That's all I can say. Talented folks.
You are so lucky.
Yeah.
Boys, we're both on top of our game today.
Oh,
Sally,
good.
Sally's doing great. I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Hey, here we go.
Here we go. So it's the most wonderful time of the year. And so Rich and I said, we've got to talk about something Christmassy because the snow's coming down and it's so beautiful out there. And I thought, well, no one has more Christmas fun than the Goggins. So welcome.
That's true.
Welcome, Pat and Sally.
Always have.
You should see their house, Rich.
Yeah.
I mean, outdoors, indoors, bedrooms decorated. It's over the top fabulous. As of course, we knew it would be. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh. I've asked Pat and Sally to bring Christmas to us through their eyes. And so the first question that I want to ask them is, what is their favorite Christmas song? Very favorite.
I think my very favorite would have to be the song that's called The Christmas Song, or Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire.
Oh, yeah.
I love the feel of that. I love the picture that it gives me of Christmas, a cozy Christmas. I love that.
Sally, that song has been covered
and I love,
hundreds of times.
The Christmas Canon.
Okay, how does that
That's
go?
my favorite. Go ahead, Sal. You help me.
Well, it's Pachelbel's Canon, and then there's a second kind of descant across it of these children singing on top of the Pachelbel Canon. I can't really sing it for you, but I know that you've heard it before, and it's just a lovely feel to it. It's just, I get it why you like it.
Is that the
it's very old school.
Yeah, probably that's why.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra version of that song? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now, Sally, the Christmas song that you mentioned, that's been remade 200 times over the years. Do you have a favorite version of it?
Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis.
Oh, wow.
He is Mr.
That's
Christmas.
What I was raised on, as a kid. My sisters were listening to Johnny Mathis, and so they're so much older than I. And it was just the one that set a picture in my mind.
Right. If we said Johnny Mathis was Mr. Christmas, I'd say Karen Carpenter, right, would be Miss Christmas. I mean,
Darn close.
Oh, my.
her
Yes.
voice gives me the chills too, just like Johnny Mathis does.
Well,
okay.
and also, I think I made a mistake because I think it's Nat King Cole that sings it.
That's,
As a matter
yes.
of fact.
I think Nat
The
King
Nat
Cole
King
is the
Cole
original.
version of the Christmas song.
It's certainly the
I
most
like
famous
Johnny
version.
Mathis' version too, but
Yeah.
Nat King Cole is kind of like the heart of Christmas, I think, for that reason.
So, fun fact about Sally and her teaching capabilities, there's this jolly elf that comes to see us, big jolly elf, on Christmas Eve every year. And for those that walk among us, the elves that walk among us, they have a trainer. Okay. And Sally has been that trainer over the years at the Santa House in Midland. And Sally, can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, we used to live in Midland, and the man whose idea the Santa House creation, he was a Santa in Midland, and he was also the head of a construction company. And so he got all of his buddies together and talked to all the vendors and was able to get either at cost or donations of product to build the Santa House. And it is a fabulous place. And Pat and I, long before the Santa School started there, Pat and I would volunteer. I mean, somebody had to die before you could get get in as a volunteer at the Santa House. And Pat and I would work at it every year. And Tom Valence, the magnificent Santa, would we just became really close friends. And so when he decided to bring the Santa School that started in London and then was in Upper New York State, and then he brought it to Midland. And now like 200 to 300 Santas come to the school every year from all over the world. The Herod Santa was there one time. A Santa from Italy came there. It's just magnificent to be among all these men. And when he asked me to start teaching at the school, I thought,
But your focal point is when you help these guys become better Santas. I get such a charge out of this. How you coach them?
I get them. I'm teaching them how to sell a song. When you're a Santa, you're sitting there for probably 1 to 2 hours with kids, not so much on your lap right now, but talking to kids, and it can be exhausting, both physically and vocally. And so getting up to get everybody who's waiting in line to sing and hand out maybe some Christmas jingle bells and get them all together to sing a song, the kids find it wonderful to have Santa singing with them. And it also then, if they're moving their arms around and directing, it gives them a certain amount of relaxation too to do it.
They kind of stretch out. They kind of get to stretch out.
Yes, and so many times the Santas have said, well, I just don't sing. And I said, well, yes, you do. You sing like Santa. And so they admitted that they needed to start doing it more. And so now getting them all together and singing and giving the opportunity to them to direct the whole group in a song, it's great fun. It's great fun.
But they have to laugh with their belly, don't they? Have to do something with their diaphragm?
They do.
Okay, how does that
And
go?
I tell them, where you laugh from your belly, that's where the air has to come in to sing.
Okay.
And now, it used to be it was done at the Santa House, the school was, but now it's too big, too many people. And they do it in the Midland Center for the Arts Auditorium, which has red carpet and green seats. And the first year we did it there, the Santas were all saying, did they just decorate this place for us to come in?
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. Let's move on to your favorite Christmas movie. Let's start with you, Pat.
Well, I think I'll take White Christmas.
Damn! That's mine.
That's one of the words you can't say on the radio, Sal.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie for Christmas.
Okay, so
every year, forever, we would watch that as a family.
Oh, awesome.
And when our Trish was young, Pat and Sarah after church one day were headed out to go skiing, and Trish and I were headed home to make Christmas cookies. And I said, Trish, have you seen White Christmas before? And she said, no. Is it a musical? And so we stopped at the video rental place and picked up a copy of it and brought it home and watched it while we made Christmas cookies. Well, now that's like a tradition.
Well, of course. She
Yeah.
loved that.
Yeah.
So Sally, what's
and
your
I'd also add to that Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
The original version, and it can be colorized or not. I don't care, but that's a favorite also.
Also of our family.
Okay, Sally. And Sally, your favorite is what?
Well, my favorite Christmas movie is White Christmas. I mean, I am. I think there's a dance number in it between Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen that is one of the coolest couples dance numbers around. The best things happen while you're dancing is what it's called. I love that.
And just admit it, the costuming. I mean.
Oh, the costumes. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my
we
God,
all want to
of course.
dress up in those outfits during the holidays. It's fabulous. Let's go to favorite childhood Christmas memory.
Well, mine grew into something that Pat and I did together. My family always, it was a big deal. About 2 weeks before Christmas, we'd go out on Sunday afternoon and cut down our own Christmas tree.
Awesome.
And there were specific places. I grew up in Battle Creek, and so there were a lot of Christmas tree farms around. And but it was just our family, my two sisters and my mom and dad, and we just had the most glorious time out in the snow and brought home beautiful, beautiful trees. Well, I insisted when Pat and I were married that we go cut down our Christmas tree. We did that for about 3 years.
Okay.
And the first year, our tree wasn't even up to Pat's chin. It was so short. The second year, it was really, really fat, but still not very tall. And the third year, it had bases all over it. And Pat said, "Can we stop this? Can we just go get one off a lot? That's where they take all the pretty ones." So that now then we realized that the whole family was allergic to the Christmas trees, and so we ended up having a fake tree anyway.
I see.
That was I love the memory though of going with my family to cut down a tree.
How about you, Pat?
Well, I put two of them. One of them is would be the annual phone call from Santa.
Oh.
And the excitement of anticipating that call, taking the call, and then reporting back to my big sister everything that we talked about, and that I would have, of course, thrown her under the bus. But that was a favorite.
It's funny. Some
And
things
Dad,
never
your
change.
Dad, when we had Sarah, Dad was doing CB radio stuff.
Ham radio
stuff.
So they were talking to Santa at the North Pole.
Oh.
When that came
Sarah
up.
did. Yeah.
Sarah had a chance to talk to him at the North Pole. But as a family, it would be the going to midnight mass in the snow and the whole bit. And this is when midnight mass was, ironically, actually at midnight.
Wow.
Now, that's kind of a novel concept, I know, but
okay, so
going in the dark, the snow coming down and all. It was, and of course, I'm old enough that, and grew up Roman Catholic. The masses were all done in Latin.
Oh,
until
my
I
goodness.
was in fourth grade. Everything was done completely in Latin, and there's something about a Latin mass that is very holy. It's like it's God's language, and so I wish everyone could have that experience. It's kind of back like with the Christmas canon. That's
very traditional.
Very traditional sounding. Yes, to me, that's very traditional.
Did you end in that mass? Did you end with Silent Night and the candles and all that? Did you end that way, Pat?
No,
I don't
Joy
think
to
so.
the world.
Oh, Joy to the World. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Makes sense. What about Christmas food? I mean, there's nothing better than a house that smells like Christmas food. What's your favorite?
Well, my mother made a mean pumpkin pie, and I used to love her pumpkin pies, but the whole family always, and now I've had to carry on the tradition, is what my mother called nuts and bolts, which is basically Chex Mix. And she had her own little version of how she spiced it up even better, and it is a real family tradition. The kids expect it when they're here. Thanksgiving too. Thanksgiving and Christmas, but
Wow.
nuts and bolts.
I've had yours, and it's quite fabulous.
Mine would have been a cookie, a Belgian or French cookie called a gauflet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was this recipe my mother, who was born in 1914, she received while she was in college from her great aunt Oscarine, and it was measured out in pounds,
Oh my
which
goodness.
was not uncommon in those days, and written in French. And my mother had to translate it, and she did. And the iron she received was cast in her uncle's garage,
Wow.
and it looks like a waffle iron, except a little bit smaller point.
Okay.
And you cooked 2 cookies at a time, and it took about 3 minutes to cook 1 cookie on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But they were oh so good. But
Mm-hmm.
when my mother died in the early 90s, I mean, I had cooked them with her, but without her by my side, I simply could not reproduce
Mm-hmm.
the cookie properly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went down to Herman's and asked Kelly, the pastry chef
Mm-hmm.
at the time, would you look at this recipe? This was written in the 30s. Were eggs bigger or smaller than?
Right.
Was the flour wasn't sifted? How do I compensate for
Mhm.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Was the butter different? All kinds of questions about all the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that, I still couldn't. So I came to a point just a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, where I just said, I'm done with this.
And you've been making them every year.
Oh yeah, every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm done with this, not doing this anymore. If any of you kids want this iron, let me know, or it's going in the trash. And my son-in-law took it home, and he's been experimenting with it and has had very good luck
Great.
and doing very well. I have moved away from it, and I have a new family tradition of making English toffee. Thank you, Sally.
Oh my gosh. Well, and to our listeners, we have the Goggin family to thank for the fabulously decorated Shay. Is that so? The lights all over the train downtown?
Well, it used to be. We
Used
don't
to
do
be.
it anymore.
Okay.
There
For
was,
about 10 years we did it.
Mhm.
or longer even. There
Yeah.
was a point in time where the city asked for some help from Rotary to do different areas, and we adopted as a family the Shea locomotive,
Mhm.
and that was we really enjoyed that. Sarah would be home from college, and then Trish would be home from college, and we'd invite some neighbors down, and we'd have a good time. John Eel took it over for a while, and he did an awesome job, but he actually added to the event. He would have a Christmas dinner, or actually a Thanksgiving dinner, following that. So turkey and relish and all the fixings. And, I think the poor guy put more effort in that than on the decorating. But the decorating went very well.
Wow. Well, thank
the
you
city's
for
doing a very good job today. And with the new shelter for the Shea,
Mm-hmm.
I think that all looks just wonderful down there.
right. Well,
We're just
that
very
was
pleased with the job that the chamber leadership class did with building that new shelter.
wow. Well, so many fun things that have been started by the Goggin family in Town Ridge. So, on that note, we want to wish all of our listeners happy holidays, and we're going to ask Sally and Pat to put us in the spirit with one of their other favorite Christmas songs.
Oh, thank you. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
Merry Christmas.